Alright, so today I got a few tips for you on if you're an essential worker and you have to work on somebody else's vehicle. Here's a couple things to keep you safe. This is just what I've been doing the last few weeks and during all this, since unfortunately I don't get out of work. So here's what I'm doing. First off, I always wear gloves. Now remember, gloves are just to keep from cross-contaminating things. So pretty much each time you work on a different vehicle, you should change out your gloves. You should also change them out before you touch too much stuff after you've touched some other vehicle. So that way you know you're not bringing over something from a dirty vehicle to something that's clean. Next, I always have the customer leave their keys on my tailgate. That way I can get to them. I don't have to touch them. Once they've left them on the tailgate, then I use disinfecting wipes. And this is for my vehicle, so this is demonstration purposes only, using flushable wipes so I don't do away with my good disinfecting wipes. But I'll pick the keys up with the disinfecting wipe and completely wipe everything down on the keys, trying to avoid touching them in places I haven't disinfected with my gloves. Just helps keep things off my gloves as long as possible. Once that's done, then I'll actually go start working on the vehicle. So let's move over to the vehicle and I'll show you what I do from there. So the first thing I do is I wipe down the door handle. Pretty much any place that I'll be touching is where I wipe down things at, to help keep any chances of any contamination hitting me. Once the door's open, I'll go ahead and wipe down the interior handle, the grab arm, and the window switches. Along with the bolster or the armrest and along the window. Those are all areas that get touched the most. So those are the areas that I start off wiping down. Now, let's move inside. So once inside the vehicle, then I'll wipe down all the areas that I'm going to be working on or anything that I might come in contact with. First one I always do is the steering wheel. And I wipe all the way around, including getting along the inside. And might not show up very good on camera, but I kind of go by, if it looks wet, then I've covered it. If it doesn't look wet, then I go back over it. But I try to get the entire steering wheel good and clean. Followed by, I'll do anything that I may bump into or need to be around, like the key switch, any of the levers for your windshield wipers or turn signals. Then I'll move on to the areas that I'll be working at. So in most cases, I'm working right under the steering column, so I'll wipe that down real good. And I would recommend using multiple wipes. I'm just using one to avoid wasting any. And like I said, these are just baby wipes versus the disinfecting wipes. They're just for demonstration purposes. So any of the panels that I'd be touching, I am wiping down completely along them on the exposed areas. The other thing that's real common is the A-pillar. So wipe it down real good, along with the trim, the weather seal trim, along the door frame. I'll also do any places that, like even my clothing might come in contact with. So like along the edge of the seats, down along the sill plate, and kick panel, just to get them good and clean. Also might wipe down, say like the center console area, shifter knob if I'm going to have to move the vehicle. and maybe even like the radio or AC controls if I might have to do something with them. A little bit ahead of time could save you a lot in the long run. But that's just a few tips for you on how to disinfect a vehicle that you may be working on. Your job may be different than mine, so you may have other areas that you're going to be working on, so you may want to wipe down the hood or, you know, a different door handle, whatever it may be. Now, I'll show you what I do with my tools after each one. Now, after I'm done with each job, I'll lay all my tools on my tailgate before I start putting them away. Using a fresh disinfecting wipe, and then I'll just wipe down every surface on that tool. And pretty much if I touched it, I wipe it down before I put it away, because they do say that the virus can live on hard surfaces, including steel, for up to, I believe it's 4 hours. And as each one's cleaned up, then I'll put it away. This also includes making sure I get really good on all my cordless tools. Even areas that I didn't touch, I try to wipe the tool down completely. For any bits or anything, I always remove them and sanitize those as well. So my next job may be, you know, in 5 minutes, or maybe in 5 days. Not quite sure. But just go ahead and make sure we've got everything. When I'm all done, just go ahead and wipe my gloves off. Then I peel those off, trying to avoid touching any of the surfaces that were on the outside. Using another sanitary wipe, I go ahead and throw those away. Most of the time I carry a little bag along with me I put all my trash into. And then when I'm all done with that, you know, I'll throw the used wipes in there also, and the used gloves. But then I'll wipe down my hands real good. Pick up my keys with the sanitary wipe again. Wipe down my keys and anything on the truck I may have touched while I was wearing the gloves after I had touched the other vehicle. This is all just to keep me safe and healthy while I'm out there still working. So if you have other tips that you use, drop them in the comments below. Let me know what you're doing to stay safe, and we'll catch you next time around. Thanks.